Hello and welcome to New Filmmakers Los Angeles in partnership with Movie Maker magazine. I am delighted we're going from LA to NYC right now with Christina Tucker with her fantastic movie Chores. But for those that haven't seen it, let's take a look at a clip.
I can't talk about this right now. I'm a little upset, if I'm being honest.
I'm sorry, I'm probably not even gonna do it.
Then you shouldn't have said it. You shouldn't say things like that if you haven't thought them through, like if you're not even sure.
Christina, sending you big virtual hugs from New Filmmakers LA, and we're so happy that you brought your film to us at New Filmmakers. It's a real pleasure. For those that haven't seen Chores, tell us a brief synopsis of your film.
So Chores is a short film about basically a long-term couple who are at a crossroads when one of them decides that she's considering moving back to her hometown. Yeah.
Now, I just honestly, I love the style. I love your actors. I love how this conversation just came about in the middle of a grocery store, which you never know when these conversations are. We talked in the green room because based on personal experience, I've cried over this particular situation that we had. Christina, where did the inspiration come for you in deciding to turn this idea into a film?
So I was, inspired by a real argument that I had with an ex that I kind of didn't know how to process. I think that, kind of like you said, these kind of crossroad moments in your relationship sometimes come in really mundane ways. And I think it was kind of, something startling that happened in a mundane way. And I wanted to convey how that feels.
Christina, you really did. You know what was so nice? I just was like, I couldn't believe I was feeling so much from a short film, because the way you delivered the film was just so real. It was just such a real, it was like, I honestly felt like I couldn't even recognize acting because it just felt like this was really happening. It was so well delivered. Like, you didn't kind of give this kind of Hollywood edge and this drama and this everything else. It was like, no, two people having a conversation in a supermarket, as couples do, go there all the time. And then this kind of very difficult subject of someone who's, feeling different in the relationship. Was it kind of important to you in the process of making it that you kind of wanted to sort of like, not take it above anything that the conversation it was, which is two people feeling different about where they're at?
Yeah, I absolutely. I mean, first of all, I was so lucky because Claire McLean, who plays Lily, and Catherine Lewinsky, who plays Samantha. I mean, they're amazing. Like, we were lucky enough to have the time to do a rehearsal, and they were just so game and are so talented in bringing this kind of like, they didn't know each other very well, but immediately had this like great connection, and that made it so much easier to kind of emphasize that, like, I did want it to feel very real and grounded and not, nobody's over the top in any way, but it is a very intense situation with a lot of kind of potential to become more intense.
Yeah.
But you don't really get it in the short. You kind of anticipate, well, what argument are they going to get in when they get home? You know what I mean? And that's kind of what I was trying to do.
Yeah, you left me with a cliffhanger, and I was very sad anyway watching the film, but you left me like wanting more. Before we get into that, I just want to say, as a director, Christina, when you're working with obviously a couple that obviously know each other, and there's obviously intensity within the conversation, like what kind of director are you, but how do you work with your actors? Like, what's your kind of process with your actors?
I guess because I'm so new at it, I am really interested in knowing what the actors do. I don't want to like push them too hard in one direction, because I think sometimes it can be clear that like, oh, this actor doesn't think that this character should be going in this direction emotionally. So I think I tried my best to ask Claire and Catherine, like, how angry do you think this character would be about this one specific statement? Or like, how do you think they would react? And trying my best to kind of adjust based on what they felt was natural.
Absolutely. Well, one of the things I want to ask you, which I was like, firstly, where is this supermarket? It looks amazing. All right. And how, and like, I always love films that take place in places like this and supermarkets. Like, how is that process you getting that? And where is this place? And I was like, I was like, wanting to pick off the shelf as I was watching it.
It's such a cool looking place. It's Pre-Cycle in Bushwick in Brooklyn. And
Oh, cool.
I thought that finding a grocery store was going to be the easiest part. I was like, I'll just call like the grocery store near me and, you know, be really polite, and they'll let us come in at like 5 in the morning, and it'll be, I mean, these places wanted like $500, $1,000 an hour to film in their grocery store.
Crazy.
So we're calling, me and my producer Nicola, we're calling all these grocery stores, and we find this one, and like the lighting was beautiful and all the stuff on the shelves looked so interesting, and I think the visual character of the store was really, we ended up getting really lucky, weirdly enough.
Oh, it was great. It looked really good. And the way it looked on camera as well was really great. And I can't tell you how great it is to sort of see your film on the laptop and then see it on a big screen. It was very, very, very impressive. Looking back on this project, you know, kind of, is there any things you kind of learned from this experience, you know, more than others? Is there any kind of tips or advice for yourself or any filmmakers out there? And kind of what has their kind of reaction been as well?
I guess I would say, I mean, first of all, we filmed this the week before the kind of COVID shutdown. So it was, I think,
Really?
March 7th. I think it was March 7th, 2020.
Oh my goodness.
And so like all their plans for post-production just kind of were not, you know, it didn't happen as quickly as I wanted and everything. And I guess one thing that I learned is that asking for help and just not taking everything so seriously, especially when it comes to pre-planning and scheduling and things like that. You know, sometimes something insane will happen and it'll take a year and a half for everything to get finished, and it just kind of is what it is. And I was lucky enough to have, you know, Jody Savitz, who was the DP and our editor, like was super accommodating and helpful. But yeah, literally anything can happen.
And what's like the audience reaction been to this as well? Like how's that been for you?
I mean, it's been great. I was so weirdly enough, not to bring up COVID again, but some people were like, oh, it was weird to watch this and see people in a grocery store and like they don't have masks and they're arguing in public, and it's like, oh yeah, I remember when people used to do that. So like, yeah, it was like weirdly nice or like kind of nostalgic almost to see this kind of like normal public interaction. But
totally.
It's gotten good responses, and the performances like have gotten, I think, well-deserved good responses. So I'm pretty pleased.
And what is next for you on the horizon, Christina? What are you working on?
I mean, I'd like to direct something soon. Yeah, I'm trying to do more feature writing and more shorts writing. So hopefully I can get back to directing soon. Yeah.
And I listen, I feel like I'm sort of always surprised when I see really great content and then they're like, oh, I'm just starting my career. I'm like, I can't believe you're starting your career. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, if you're doing great stuff like that, then, you know, it's going to be an exciting career for you. I just want to know, is it, you know, where you're at in your world, is there kind of any like advice that you can kind of share for maybe our filmmaking audience, you know, that you kind of go by? Is there anything that you'd like to share with our audience?
I guess something I've learned about my own art that might be helpful is that I think once I better understood why I was making different pieces of art, it was so much easier to write them and direct them. And, you know, if I can be honest with myself emotionally, then I think it does help make better art. And I guess that would be my advice to other people, but also to myself.
Yeah, honest with yourself emotionally. We don't hear that enough. Honestly, Christina, I love that you shared that. I mean, I'm a hypocrite of that too, my goodness, you know, so we got to listen to our own advice sometimes, you know. Well, listen, I'm really thankful you brought Chores to us. I'm really excited to see more films. Keep making more movies for us, and we're very thankful you're part of the New Filmmakers LA family, so thank you very much.
Thank you so much for giving Chores a space to screen. That's fantastic.